Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. As Dr. Malpani said, this evening we used to talk about worship of Isvara, worship of Bhagavan. And our worship is mostly worshipping Isvara or Bhagavan in the form of various devatas that we see in front of us. We have different devatas. We have Lord Ganesha here, Lord Subramanya here, Lord Shiva here, Durga Devi here, Rama Parivar, Radha Krishna, and what? So many devatas are here. Perhaps in your mind there may not be any question, but the present generation asks this question. So why do we have so many gods? Because when they go to schools and colleges, they confront this question from their friends, because apparently other traditions have only one God, one book, one mantra. Christianity is one God, one Guru, Christ, one text, Bible. And this is usually the characteristic of all the religions which are born in the Middle East. One Guru, one book, one Isvara. And they ridicule Hinduism. They make fun of us. You have so many books, so many gods, so many gurus. Sometimes they even tell us Hinduism is not even a religion, because they have their own definition of what religion is, and they try to fit everything in that definition. If you do not satisfy that definition, you do not deserve to be called a religion. That's how they take satisfaction. And poor Hindus, we've been suffering from a great inferiority complex. This is what the British were able to accomplish. In the rule of 150 years, is to create an inferiority complex in Indians, that we are inferior and the Westerners are superior. Therefore, even our religion also is inferior and their religion is superior. So our youth also grows in an atmosphere like this. Even in the West also. Because our first generation doesn't have much understanding of Hinduism, unfortunately. Hindus are perhaps the most ill-informed about Hinduism, or they carry lots of misconception about Hinduism themselves. Because we do not take trouble to study our own tradition. So we feel very embarrassed that we have so many gods. And when some people confront us, so how come you have so many gods? We don't know what answer to give. Our children ask their parents. Parents also do not know. So what is really a bhushanam or a glory of Hindu Dharma is unfortunately thought to be dushanam or a disadvantage. You Hindus worship idols, so we are told. You worship many gods, so we are told. And we believe that. So what is our bhushanam? The advantage, the glory is somehow made to appear as a dushanam, as a defect. And therefore, it is important to understand, that is why the topic that we have picked up this evening is worship and worshipping God, worshipping Isvara. That the important characteristic of the Hindu Dharma is worshipping devatas. In the Vedic times, the devatas were Indra, Varuna, Agni, Yama, etc. Later on in the Pauranic time, the devatas are Rama, Krishna, Ganapati, Shiva. So worshipping devatas has always been our main characteristic. Because this is what enables us to establish a personal relationship with Isvara. You worship many gods? Certainly not. You can ask anybody in India, how many gods are there? They will say there is one God. But then when you ask, why are there so many gods in the temple? Perhaps we may not be able to give a proper answer. Just because there are many names and forms does not mean that there are many gods. But then why do you have Rama and Krishna and Shiva and Devi and Ganesha? Why do you have so many names, forms? Each one is different from the other. Our answer is that the very famous statement in the Vedas, Ekam Sat Vipraha Bahudha Vadanti. Ekam Sat, Sat means truth, or Ishvara, Ekam is one. Vipraha Bahudha Vadanti. The wise or the learned call the same Ishvara by different names. How did it happen that one entity gets different names? Should it not be? Their names are different, forms are different, their attire is different, everything is different. Should it not be that one devata is different from the other devatas? Our answer is that one person, one man, at home he is called father. At workplace he is called a manager. In a temple he is called a devotee. In a marketplace, he is called a client. On tennis court, he is called an athlete. How many names are there? Father is one name, manager is another name, athlete is a third name, client is the fourth name, devotee is the fifth name. And interestingly enough, with each of these names, then the different forms are there. At home, the same man dresses differently with kurta, pajama or dhoti, something. When he goes to work and is called manager, he is suited, booted. When he comes to temple, he is called devotee, he is with open-chested. When he goes to tennis court, he is called athlete, then he wears shorts. Looks like names are different and the form also varies according to name. Does it mean that there are many persons? Same person is called by different names. You know, why is he called by different names? One person can be called a driver, same person can be called a cook, same person can be called some. You know, how do these names come? These are functional names. They are called functional names. A person gets a name depending upon the function that he performs. He is called a driver when he performs the function of driving. He is called a cook when he performs the function of cooking. He is called father when he performs the function of taking care of his children. He is called a manager or boss when he performs the function of management. One person can perform variety of functions, and accordingly one person also gets variety of names. So also Isvara performs a number of functions. Isvara or Bhagavan creates this world. In that role he is called, in that function he is called creator. What's the name of the creator? What do we call the creator? Brahma. Same Isvara. When he protects the world, he is called the protector. What do we call him? Vishnu. Same God also, when the cycle of creation comes to an end, he also winds up, folds up everything into himself. That time is called Shiva or Rudra. When he removes our obstacles, he is called Ganesha. And thus, Isvara performs number of functions, countless functions ever. He can have countless names. Corresponding to every function, he has a different attire. So Brahma has a form. You know how many heads Brahma has? 4 heads. You know what the 4 heads stand for? They stand for the 4 Vedas. Why does Brahma have 4 heads? Vedas means that he has all the knowledge. He is omniscient because for creating the world he requires knowledge. And therefore all our gods also are happily married. Not just married, happily married. And therefore Saraswati is the consort of Brahmaji because she is the goddess of knowledge, because he needs knowledge to create. And Lord Vishnu sustains, protects the world. For that he requires a lot of wealth. And therefore Lakshmi ji is the consort of Vishnu. And Rudra requires power to destroy. And therefore Durga is the consort of Rudra or Shiva. This is a very beautiful concept. In fact, as you know very well, God is omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent. He is all-knowing. Because for creating the world, he requires all the knowledge. For ruling the world, he requires all the power. He is omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent. But our rishis realized that it is very difficult for a human being to visualize or conceive of that God in their mind because our minds are limited. So we cannot think of omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent. He has countless virtues, countless gunas, and we cannot think of all the gunas simultaneously. Some of you may have known a hymn to Lord Shiva that is called the Mahimna Stotra. Have you heard of that? That it says, Atitah panthanam tavach mahima vang manasayoho atad vyavrutyayam chakidam abhidatte shrutirapi sa kasya stotavya kativida guna kasya vishaya. Oh Lord, you have countless virtues. Who can describe your virtues? At the same time, you transcend all the virtues also. So who can objectify you? You follow? He is both what? So who is Isvara? Both omnipresent, he is both all pervasive as well as all transcendental. Simultaneously, God pervades everything and transcends everything. This is a unique concept of God which is not found in any other tradition. All other traditions present God as in heaven, meaning that God transcends His world. He is different from the world. If you want to see God, you have to go there to heaven. You cannot see God as long as you are on this earth in this body. You know what Hinduism says? Not only God is transcendent, God is all pervasive. You know what it means? It means that He pervades the entire universe. As Bhagavad Gita says, Yatah pravrittir bhutanam yena sarmidam tatam. He pervades everything. He is antaryami. He is the self of all. Meaning that God is present in you and me and everything. So where is God? God is everywhere and everything is God. This is the most beautiful concept of Isvara that we have. And therefore, if God is only transcendent, He is beyond names and forms, then you cannot worship in names. Therefore, they dismiss names and forms. They dismiss worshipping in form because God is transcendent. How can you worship Him here? Understand that our understanding and concept of God is not only is transcendent, He pervades everything. He is everywhere in all names and forms, and therefore we can invoke God in any name and form. You understand? Therefore, we invoke Isvara in all these names and forms, which we call Devata. And each Devata represents the same God with some attribute which has a predominance. Like Brahma represents the same God with the predominant attribute of creation. Vishnu represents the same God with predominant attribute of preserving. Rudra represents the same God with predominant attribute of destruction. Ganesha represents the same God with the predominant attribute of removing obstacles. Durga represents same God with predominant attribute of power or Shakti. So depending upon what you want, depending upon our own emotional makeup, we can relate to Isvara in various ways. Therefore we can establish a relationship with Isvara. Some people look upon God as Father. Some look upon God as Mother. Some look upon God as Master, Swami, like Hanuman. He's everything. And therefore, we can look upon Him in whichever way we want. So that is why there are different ways of worshipping God. Different bhavas are there. Vatsalya bhava is there, Sakhya bhava is there, Swami bhava is there. Some people look upon God as their child, some people look upon God as their father, as their mother, as their master, as their friend. Because each one of us has different emotional makeup. Each one of us has different needs. Some people are in need of father, some are in need of mother, some are in need of friend, of master, of a child, and accordingly Ishvara fulfills our needs. And that's how we relate to Ishvara in our own personal way. If you have only one God, no form, no name, transcendental, how do you think of that God? How do you meditate upon God? Here you can meditate upon Ishvara in this form given to you. In fact, the reason why we have these different devatas, different names and forms, is because we can meditate upon Him, we can worship Him, we can establish a personal relationship with Him. And therefore, our form of worship also is a very intimate form of worship. Just as you worship your father, worship your mother, worship your guru, worship a revered guest. So when a revered guest visits our home, how do we welcome him? How do we revere him? How do we worship him? As you saw, some formality was carried out here. The Swami was received with a Purna Kumbha, with a water, with a pot full of water. Because the guest comes from a long distance in those days, therefore he needs water. He is tired, therefore you wash his feet. Then you offer him bath, new garments, new ornaments, with flowers. You give him excellent food, sing in front of him, dance in front of him. You do all this to please the God. Have you ever seen this kind of worship anywhere else? Where you can dance in front of him, sing in front of him, you can feed him. There is one bhajan, that they sing in Hindi, which means this, that God is ready to eat. There is somebody who knows how to feed him. You must be like Shabari, who should know how to feed. He is ready to dance. You should know how to make him dance like the gopis. He is ready to come to you. You should know how to call him. Thus he responds to different bhaktas in whichever way the bhaktas want. Thus every devotee has a personal relationship with God. There is no restriction. In other traditions, they are restricted. You can worship only this way, no other way. Here we can worship as we want. There is a formal way of worship. Sometimes we worship in 16 steps called Shodasopachara Puja, which is what you must have seen today. When a worship like Rudrabhisheka is performed, and all upachara, dhyanam, avahanam, asanam, padyam, achamaniyam, snanam, beautiful garments are offered, ornaments are offered, archana is done with flowers. You recite, if you 108 names of the Lord, each name represents your devotion to the Lord, represents the glory of the Lord. If you like, you can even recite 1008 names. If you don't have much time, recite 12 names. All of this is, a lot of flexibility is there. People are, these days, people say, Swamiji, Hinduism and all rituals, why do you have so many rituals? They feel that other religions do not have rituals, so they are better. What are rituals? But we have to point out to them that everything is a ritual. Is making tea, is it not a ritual? Don't you make tea in a certain way? Then you first boil water, and then add sugar, then add milk if you want, add tea, let it rest. Isn't that a process of doing it? There is a recipe for cooking every dish, and a process of doing it. How much you should heat, when you should boil, everything, then alone the thing will come out right, is it not so? Everything is a ritual. Even bath that you take is also a ritual. It is not that you wipe your body first and then shower. Do you do that? Or afterwards you apply soap? No, there is a procedure. Is it not so? If you think of it, everything is a ritual. Meaning a proper way of doing. There is always a proper way of doing everything. A proper way of doing is called a ritual. Cooking is a ritual. Going to work is a ritual. Working is a ritual. Because you are supposed to do things only in a certain way. There is certain procedure for doing everything. That's called ritual. These days, in fact, traveling is a ritual. You go to airport, there's a ritual. You can't enter the plane just like that, can you? No. You can't carry your bag into the plane. You have to check in, get the boarding pass, go through security, go through all these kinds of processes. And then if the Swami forgets and he carries a bottle of water, you throw it out. All these things you have to go through. It's a ritual. So understand, the ritual is a very important thing, because then only an act can be performed in a systematic manner. Then only it can be performed in a proper manner. How in our life? We do everything in a proper manner, because then alone it can be done well. Similarly, worshipping also should be done in a proper manner, then only it can be done well. And the advantage of ritual is that we have to pay attention in order to perform the ritual. That is how it enables you to develop a focus of the mind, a concentration of mind, because you remember which step comes after which. So that requires a concentration of mind. So performing puja becomes also an act of meditation, an act of prayer. The worship also involves prayer and meditation. It helps us to develop the concentration of mind. Because you have to pay attention. While doing archana, you recite, say 108 names. Which name comes after what? You have to remember and do this. Not only that, very interesting thing is, every devata has his or her own way of performing worship. So you worship Devi in one way and Lord Shiva in a different way and Ganapati in another way. Sometimes people ask these questions, why is it so? You can offer this leaf to this devata. So Lord Shiva you offer which leaf? Bilva Patra. Lord Vishnu, which leaf do you offer? Tulasi. What do you offer to Lord Ganesha? No? Durva. Meaning that you have to pay attention and make sure that we do what is appropriate for worshipping the deity. Is it not so? When you are treating your father, you do it in one way. When you are serving your mother, you do it in a different way. When you serve your little child, you do it in a different way. Is it not so? Depending upon what is appropriate. And thus, every deity has his or her own particular way of worship, which is what we call ritual. But then, a ritual creates a discipline in us. Ritual creates a commitment in us. Ritual creates also a focus or concentration of mind. A ritual gives us, it is a structure. What is a structure? A ritual gives us a structure of expressing our devotion. We have devotion in our heart. How do we express that devotion? The ritual gives us a structure for expressing that devotion. So understand the beauty of our religion. All of these are really glories of Hindu religion. That is the reason why countless people are able to. The Hindu Dharma is characterized by devotion, by Shraddha, by Bhakti, and that is what has enabled us really to sustain ourselves over all these centuries. When we have been subject to so many kinds of attacks, so much of abuse, so much of torture, and all attempts have been made to destroy this religion, and still this is one religion which has sustained. So many religions are wiped out in this world by those aggressive religions. This one religion that has survived in spite of all the aggressions. You know what? This is what has enabled us really to remain devout in our own devotion. Therefore, worshipping Isvara, different devatas, different rituals, and therefore different processes. Why do you have to worship Swamiji? Why do I need to worship God? Can you tell me why do you worship? Why do you do this? Why do we come and prostrate here? Why do we come and make offerings? Why do we do that? Any idea? Why do we do that? Oh, because everybody does it, therefore I also do it. Is it so? Yes, Swami. My father told me, come and bow down here, so I do that. My mother told me to do, that's why I do that. Why do we offer? Worship is our way of offering. In order to please the Lord. So worship is our way of making offering to please the Lord. Why do we need to please the Lord? To secure His grace, His favor, His anugraha, His krupa. But Swamiji, why do I need Ishvara's grace? Because we have lots of needs, we have lots of desires. We therefore require the grace of Ishvara in order to fulfill our needs, fulfill our desires. Why do you need Ishvara's grace, Swami? I can fulfill my own desire, I am very capable of doing it. We are not. We are limited in every way. Limited in our knowledge, limited in our power, limited in capabilities. And therefore, there is no way that we can guarantee that our effort will be successful. Therefore, we require the grace of Ishvara. So understand that grace of Ishvara is very important in our life. Because we are needy people. Because we have so many desires. And fulfillment of desire is very important to us. Because I am happy only when my desire is fulfilled. I become unhappy when my desire is not fulfilled. And therefore, for happiness, we need to fulfill desires. And for that, we require Ishvara's grace. And therefore, we need to worship Ishvara. But Swamiji, that sounds very selfish. But that is what we are. We are, I should know selfish, but we are needy people. We feel that we can be happy only when our needs are satisfied, our desires are satisfied. We have so many desires, so many needs. And we know very well that Ishvara is capable of fulfilling all the needs because He is omniscient, omnipotent. He is all-knowing, at the same time all-powerful. Not only He knows what I need, but He also has the capability of fulfilling my needs. Sometimes we know what the need is, but we cannot fulfill it. Suppose somebody comes to me, says, Swamiji, I want $1 million. What am I going to do? I know what he needs. I can't do anything. Sometimes $1 million, but I may not know what he needs. So sometimes you don't have knowledge. Sometimes you don't have power. And sometimes I have $1 million. And you come and tell me, Swamiji, please give me $100,000. I know that I can give you, but I don't give you. You know, in India, when you're driving, when you come to intersection, when the traffic light, your car stops. I think you must have experienced. From nowhere, some half a dozen little children spring up from somewhere. And they start polishing your window shield and they start doing this. And they're beggars. Most people, you know what they do? They don't even look at them. They ignore them. Ask them to go. Don't even give a penny. Even though that person has hundreds of rupees in his pocket, he is quite capable of giving that. He knows this person needs, doesn't give. Because even when knowledge is there, even capacity is there, that compassion may not be there. You follow? For giving, you require knowledge of what the person needs. You require the power or capability of giving that. And thirdly, what else do you require? You require the compassion, kindness. Then you can give. So that is what Ishvara is. He is all-knowing. Because meaning that we know that He knows what we need. He is all-powerful. The way He is capable of fulfilling our needs. At the same time, He is what? Kripalu. Kripalu means what? He is compassionate. He is benevolent. And therefore, He reaches out to us to fulfill our needs. That is why worshipping Isvara. To fulfill our needs. But it is not necessary that we have to worship Isvara only to fulfill the needs. We can worship Isvara as it is. Just as an expression of our happiness, as an expression of our gratitude. Lord, I am gratified, I am blessed by you, that you have always favored me and therefore here is my little offering. What can I do? What can I give you? What do I have to give you? Well, whatever little I can spare, we offer to Lord. What does he need? He doesn't need anything. Even in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti pahrutam ashnami prayatatmana. Lord Krishna says that if my devotee, our patram means what? A leaf. Pushpa means a flower. Phalam means a fruit. Toya means water. All these are the materials that are available which do not cost any money. They are available all over. Leaves are available, fruits are available, flowers are available, water is available, or anything like that. Lord Krishna says that you do not offer me any precious things, but you offer me. What is important is not what we offer, but that we offer. Yome bhaktya prayachati. The offering becomes a vehicle of expressing our devotion to the Lord. Yome bhaktya prayachati. So therefore all he wants really is our bhakti. Offering becomes a vehicle of expressing our bhakti. So you must have known many stories. One story of Lord Krishna is very famous. Once Lord Krishna went to Hastinapur as a mediator for a peace agreement, to peace brokering between Pandavas and Kauravas. He went to Hastinapur. Duryodhana welcomed him. Oh Lord, please be my guest. Please come to my palace. Lord says no. Instead, Lord Krishna chose to go to the hut of whose, Vidura. Interestingly enough, at that time, it seems that Vidura saw Lord Krishna and ran out because he needed to bring something. So he tells his wife, hey, Lord Krishna is here, you take care of him. I'm going out to get something. This woman is taking bath and she's so overwhelmed by the devotion of Lord Krishna. So Lord Krishna is seated there and she is feeding him. And little later when Vidura comes back, he sees a very strange scene there. You know what Vidura's wife is feeding him? She's peeling bananas and giving him banana peels. And bananas are left here. Peels are given. Because she has just become mad in devotion. And Lord Krishna is equally mad. He is also consuming those peels. Can you believe it? Vidura comes and sees what is going on here. Yome bhaktya prayachati. All that is important is it is offered with bhakti. So this offering, worship is important because it is a vehicle of offering, which is a vehicle of manifesting our bhakti or devotion. But you may ask, but Swami, I don't have any devotion in my heart. What should I do? Then also you offer. then also you perform worship. What will happen, In course of time, that devotion will be invoked. In English they call it fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it. You offer as though you are a devotee. Inside you don't have that. But outwardly, you make an offering as though you have devotion. In course of time, the devotion will come. I will repeat here a story which I told these people just a couple of days ago. The story of our Puja Swami Dayanandaji here, my Guru. When that's many years ago, in his young days, he was a fresh Swami and used to travel from place to place giving discourses. He must stay in a given location for 10 days or 15 days and he will have discourses in morning and evenings. And the devotees will invite the Swami for bhiksha, lunch, dinner. So once upon a time, our Swamiji was giving talks in Delhi for 15 days. First was the evening talk. That evening he was invited for bhiksha by a Tamilian family. Swami also comes from Tamil Nadu. This lady had cooked very nice, very wonderful food. Cooked 3 or 4 vegetables. One of those vegetables was bitter gourd, Kerala, bitter gourd. Unfortunately, our Swami did not like bitter gourd. And this was served. Along with other things, bitter gourd also is served. So Swami thought, let me finish that first. His approach is, deal with the unpleasant first, so that you are left with a pleasant later. So let me finish that bitter gourd first. Then I can enjoy the rest of the vegetables and food. So he finished that. So the hostess is watching. In India, generally we don't bother to ask whether you want it or not. She thought that Swamiji has finished bitter gourd first, so he likes it. So without even seeking his permission, another helping of bitter gourd. What can poor Swami do? He finished the second helping also, a third helping. So that evening he had all 3 helpings of bitter gourd. Finally the ordeal came to an end. But did it? No. Next day he is invited for lunch in a family. That lady asked the first hostess, what does Swami like? So this lady says to her, he likes bitter gourd. And however, next day also bitter gourd is waiting for him. Another 3 helpings. Evening, bitter gourd. For 15 days, morning and evening. Kerala, bitter gourd, bitter gourd. And generous helping. So Swamiji acted as though he likes bitter gourd. That's how he ate it. But in 15 days, he started liking bitter gourd. It's called fake it till you make it. You act as though you like it. In course of time, you really start liking it. Similarly also, worshipping Isvara. It's an excellent way of invoking devotion from us. Therefore, puja or worshipping is very important because we can become in course of time, we become a devotee of the Lord. If you have the devotion, it becomes even more intense. If you don't have devotion, it gets invoked and in course of time, you become a devotee. Therefore, this puja or worship is extremely important for everybody. Whether you want favor or do not want favor. If you worship, without seeking favor, that is even better. Because when you worship desiring favor, then whatever punya you get is used up in that favor. You follow? But if you offer to the Lord without asking for a favor, then He also wonders, what should I now do? This fellow is not asking for any favor, what should I do? So then He reserves a special favor for you. That worshipping that is done without seeking favor in return brings about purification of mind, called antahkarana shuddhi. And that is how the Shraddha and Bhakti are invoked in you. And that's how you come closer to Isvara. So a devotee who performs worship without seeking the return reward or favor is called Nishkama Bhakti. Sakama Bhakti and Nishkama. Sakama also is all right, because we need His help. But better is what? Nishkama Bhakti. If you can perform the worship without seeking any favor, oh Lord, it is my pleasure to make an offering to you. I know that you don't need anything. Everything belongs to Him, is it not so? In Bombay, when we were studying in the ashram, this very beautiful Shiva temple. Outside there is a garden. Beautiful flowers grow there. As usual, there is a sign there which says, do not pluck flowers. But we being what we are, we don't generally pay attention, we don't care for this kind of signs. So devotees come and quietly pluck the best flower, best rose, and go inside and offer to the priest. Please offer it to the Lord. So he says, Tera tujko arpan. You sing that arti here? Jai Jagadish Hare. And this Tera tujko arpan, meaning what? I'm offering really what belongs to you. Meaning that whenever we make an offering, really we are not offering something that is not His. In fact, we are offering something that already belongs to Him. We only take from His own garden from our own His store and give Him. Now why should we give? When we give offering, make an offering, you know what we are giving? You offer fruits or ornaments or garlands or whatever you offer. Really what we are offering is our sense of ownership. I have a notion that this belongs to me. Really it all belongs to Isvara. But we usurped, we have in fact appropriated what belongs to Him to ourselves. It is this sense of mamatvam or mindness which is a big obstacle. And therefore, what is purification? Giving up this mamatvam. Thus making the offering also becomes a vehicle, an occasion of offering my sense of ownership, which is only a false sense. Really, what belongs to us? What belongs to us? Again, telling you the story of our Swamiji. Again, Swamiji was in Bombay ashram, and many devotees would come. Sometimes some of them invite Swami for bhiksha. So one young man came to Swamiji, please come to my home for bhiksha. I recently purchased a new flat. Please come and bless my home. All right. So he took Swamiji, and there's a big building there. So Swamiji will come to my home. Oh, even the whole building belongs to you? He says, no, Swamiji. One flat belongs to me. So there's a lift or elevator. They rise, go to 4th floor. The whole floor belongs to you? No, no, Swamiji. One flat belongs to me. Takes him to the flat. Swamiji is made to sit. That fellow goes inside and is preparing for offering something to Swami. Swamiji is thinking. So when he comes out, Swamiji says, this flat belongs to you? He says, yes, Swamiji. This wall on the right, does it belong to you? That I cannot say, because my right wall is the left wall of the other fellow. Does the left wall belong to you? My left wall is the right wall of that fellow. I can't say it belongs to me. Ceiling belongs to you? Not really, because my ceiling is that fellow's floor. The floor belongs to you? Not really, Swamiji, because my floor is that fellow's ceiling. What belongs to you? The space belongs to you? The space is always there. That something belongs to me is merely a notion in our mind. Nothing belongs to us. You know, I purchased a pair of shoes, very expensive shoes in India, costing some 5,000 rupees. These things cost a lot of money. My shoes, I preserve them, I polish them, and I'm very proud of them. One day I was visiting the temple. I came out, shoes have disappeared. Somebody quietly wore those shoes and walked away. Those shoes are so unfaithful. They did not tell that fellow, hey, I don't belong to you, I belong to the Swami. They don't say that. I say the shoes belong to me. The shoes do not say that they belong to me. Do they? No. All of this is one-way relationship, simply in our mind. Meaning that all the sense of ownership is false. But offering, by offering, I am offering my sense of ownership, that this belongs to me. I am the owner, which is in fact creating a big bondage to me. Becoming free from sense of ownership is becoming free from bondage, gaining freedom. So that's yo me bhaktya prayachari. Lord Krishna says, make an offering to me. Does not matter what you offer. As long as you offer with devotion, I am happy. Because bhakti priyo madhava. Madhava is bhakti priya. All he wants is bhakti of the devotion. So many bhaktas are there. What do they have? The question is, what did Sudama have in terms of wealth? Nothing. What did Ugrasen have in terms of power? Nothing. What did that Gajendra had in terms of knowledge? Nothing. Ka vidya, Gajendrasya ka vidya. What vidya Gajendra had? Kim paurushayam paurusham ugrasenasya. What paurusha Ugrasena had? What wealth Sudama had? Kubjaya kamaniya rupam. You know Kubja? Have you heard the name of Kubja in Bhagavatam? No Kubja? When Lord Krishna goes to Mathura, he is greeted by a very ugly woman she had so many humps on her body. Kubja means a very ugly woman. But she offered to Lord Krishna. She was serving Kamsa. And she always used to, prepare the sandalwood paste for him to offer him. So Lord Krishna sees her coming from the other direction, carrying the sandalwood paste, and she offers it to Lord Krishna. Instead of, Lord Krishna simply touches her and she becomes a beautiful woman. But kabjaya kamani rupam. what rupa, what beauty of Kubja had. Meaning that this devotee had nothing with them. But what was common thing that they had? Bhakti Priyo Madhava. Madhava, the Lord, just wants bhakti and nothing else. He just wants devotion. Therefore, we have to become the devotees of the Lord. And this worship is an excellent way of invoking the devotee from us, invoking the devotion from our heart. And more you worship, more you can invoke the devotee from you. And when we become a devotee, bhakta, that's the end of it. Meaning that we become bhakta in the primary sense. Then we have achieved the goal of life, because Lord Krishna says, Yo mad bhakta same priya. My devotee is very dear to me. He gives us his certificate that he is dear to me. So worship, extremely important. Form of worship also is very important. Therefore temples become important, devatas become important, rituals become important, worship becomes important. Because devotion is important. Because more we invoke the devotee from ourselves, more we come closer to Isvara, and ultimately we become one with him. The bhakti of the devotion enables us to become one with Isvara. And that is the goal of our life. And that's why worshipping Isvara is the most important thing in our life. We should have always the time available and set aside for worship. Different kinds of worship. You can worship physically, you can worship with your orally, meaning that you chant stotras and his names. You can worship mentally. Pujanam japa chintanam kramat. Pujanam, worshiping with your limbs. Japa, worshiping with your speech. Chintanam, worshiping with your mind. All three levels we worship the Lord. And worship is, it should be there as part of our daily routine. Worship, prayer, offering, all of that should be an essential part of our daily routine. Oh. Before we close, if anybody has any questions. Please speak in the microphone.
Swami, I was contemplating the aspect you said earlier about praying for desires. You mentioned that praying just for glorifying Lord is better than praying for desires, but you can still pray to get your desires fulfilled. As human beings, as we are not perfect in our sadhana, and sometimes we don't have the capability to differentiate between good and bad for us in a spiritual way. How beneficial is it to still pray to get our desires fulfilled, because we have such a big self-ego, and we get our desires fulfilled, and God, as kind as He is, will fulfill desires. Wouldn't we be boosting our self-ego and getting us farther away from Him rather than our true destination, which is worshiping Him without asking for anything in return to get closer to Him and be one with Him? Can you explain that better?
Yeah. Should we not always worship Ishvara without desire? Why do we worship Ishvara to fulfill our desires? Until we gain the maturity that fulfilling desire does not really help me. Because fulfilling one desire gives rise to another desire. Fulfilling desires is like pouring butter into fire. As fire becomes more intense when you pour butter, so also fulfilling desires only creates more desires. But that is for a mature person. Most people don't have that maturity. Most people see the happiness in fulfillment of the desires. So until we grow in that maturity, when we recognize that fulfilling desires is not the way, then we should really grow out of desire. Until that maturity comes to us, we need to fulfill the desire. That is why in the Vedas also, so many rituals are prescribed for fulfilling variety of desires. Because Vedas also recognize that human beings have so many desires and so many needs. And right now to tell him that, hey, fulfilling desire doesn't help you, is not ready to understand that. Like a child wants to eat a candy, you tell him, hey, you don't eat candy, it's not good for you. He wants it anyway. Similarly, as long as we do not have that maturity to recognize that fulfilling desire is not good for us, we want to fulfill them anyway. So for them, fulfilling desire is okay. Nothing wrong in it. That is why Lord Krishna talks about 4 levels of devotees of Bhagavad Gita. Chaturvidaha bhajante maam janaha sukritano arjuna arto jignasu rartharthi jnani cha bharatarshava. Here Arjuna, first of all, who will worship Isvara? The one who is Sukriti means only a person who is a Punyavan, that alone will only worship Isvara. A person whose mind is predominant papa, to him even the worshipping itself will not occur. Many people whose minds are polluted by violation of values in their mind, even the desire for worship does not arise. So even the desire for worship itself is a great thing. Sukrutina. Only when you accumulated punya or the virtues of the past, that there arises in our mind desire to worship the Lord. Arto jignasu rartharthi. The first level of devotee is called artha. Most people worship Ishvara only when they are in dire difficulty. When they do not find a way of becoming free from their problems or difficulty, then they approach Ishvara. So most devotees come to Bhagavan at the time of examination. In India also, when exams approach, Ganapati finds lots of devotees, Hanumanji finds lots of devotees, Ganapati gets lots of coconuts, Hanumanji gets lots of oil. Students come, Lord, please help me to pass in my examinations. Not throughout, only at the time when no other way is there. It's also okay. Artharthi. Many people worship because they want to fulfill their material desires. Second level of devotee. First level of devotee is like Gajendra, like Draupadi, you remember him only when there is great need, when they don't find any way out. Second level of devotee is all like Sugriva, who want kingdom, they also worship him. Called Artharthi. Then comes a more mature devotee. It's called Jignasu, who worship Ishvara for knowledge, like Arjuna, like Uddhava. They approach Ishvara for knowledge. And that culminates into Jnani cha Bharatarshava. They become Jnani like King Janaka, like the Sanat Kumaras, like Prahlada, the Jnani Bhakta. So Bhaktas are all categories. Doesn't matter which category you are. If you continue, you will slowly rise in your category. So it's all right. Arthartha also is okay. Artha also is okay. Hopefully they'll rise in their maturity. How do we understand what?
How can we understand or prove that God is observing our actions?
God is upset?
How can we understand whether God is observing our actions?
Because God resides in hearts of all. Therefore, He is a witness of all our thoughts and everything. So not a single thought goes out of His notice. We may feel that we are pretty smart, and what we do is not known to Him, but everything is known because He is all-knowing. You know the story of a little child in the school. When a teacher once distributed, somebody's birthday was there, celebration of birthday, the teacher distributed bananas to all these students in his class and told them, go and eat this banana in a place where nobody sees you. So everybody disappeared in some place or the other and finished the banana and came back. One boy came back with banana. So teacher asked him, how come you did not eat your banana? He said, sir, you said that I should go to a place where nobody sees me. I could not find a place. Why? Because God is everywhere. You told me yesterday God is everywhere. He's seeing everything. He's Antaryami. Means what? One who dwells in our heart. And therefore a witness of everything. Therefore He is all-knowing. Yes, Sarvajna, Sarvavit. He knows everything in general and everything in particular. Otherwise, I'll tell you, if He is not all-knowing, how can He administer this universe? You know, this whole universe is administered by Isvara, right? Everything is very systematic, is it not so? If He did not know how to do that, how to control sun and the moon and the fire and water and earth and atom, everything is functioning in a systematic manner only when He knows how to guide them, how to direct them, how to control them. So Ishvara's knowledge is manifest everywhere. Ishvara is called Sarvajna. Sarvajna is what? Omniscient. Meaning that He has the infinite wisdom. Understand that infinite wisdom is manifest everywhere. I'll give you one simple example. My thumb. The print in my thumb. You know the lines in my thumb? The thumbprint? That thumbprint shows that Ishvara is all-knowing. Whoever has created thumbprint knows everything. You know why? Because they take my thumbprint. If I play some mischief, they will locate me through my thumbprint. It's because I have left a thumbprint somewhere. So how are we able to catch the criminals based on their footprints or fingerprints? Because we know that nobody else has that fingerprint, isn't it? Nobody in past had that fingerprint. Nobody in present has that fingerprint. And nobody in future also will have that fingerprint. Then only you have a database where millions of fingerprints are stored with the assurance that nobody had, nobody has, and nobody will have. Meaning one who created this fingerprint knew the past, knows the present, knows the future. So Creator is all-knowing. If He is not all-knowing, He cannot administer this world. Even every cell also requires knowledge. Everywhere there is knowledge, infinite wisdom is manifest everywhere. Ishvara has infinite wisdom, therefore He knows everything. And thank God that He knows everything. Otherwise our prayers always go unanswered because I don't know what you're talking about, I don't know that language. So people have different languages. Should Bhagavan know all the languages or not? Tell me. There are countless languages and dialects in the world. And should he know those languages or not? You may pray in Kannada, somebody prays in Telugu, somebody in Tamil, somebody in English, somebody in French, in Slovak, all languages are there. Does he know? If he does not know, he knows one language, Sanskrit, and doesn't know any other language, then what? He will not know what you are saying. He knows all the languages. Not only that, but even if you pray just simply in your mind, you may not even express it in words. You simply pray in your mind. Does he know or not? He knows what thoughts are there in my mind. Otherwise, we can't depend upon him. If he does not know what I am praying in my mind, how can we trust him? We can trust him only when we are assured that he knows what I am praying in my mind. Is it not so? So he is omniscient, all-knowing. That's why, he cannot be Isvara.
Yeah, last question.
Say loudly this. Yeah.
Why God is created this many bodies if Atma is saved for all?
If Atma is one, why has God created so many bodies?
So many sadhus and problems. And again he is saying.
First of all, let us answer the question, why so many bodies? Suppose all of us had only one kind of face, suppose all of us. You would look alike. How would you like that? There was only one color, one taste. Why so many tastes? Why so many colors? Why so many flavors? Why so many forms? Only one color, what would you do? Only one taste, what will you do? Why so many dishes? You have buffet. Only khichdi is made, that's all every day, morning, afternoon, evening, morning, afternoon. What will you do? Creation means variety, you understand? Because human mind wants variety. You enjoy when there is variety because the mind easily gets bored with one thing and therefore it wants new thing. Otherwise, why do iPhones coming up every year? Why do they have a different iPhone? iPhone 6 and 7 and 8 and you go on and on. Why? Because we want variety of things. That's why for us, for our own happiness is created all this. The next question is, why has he created sorrow? He has not created sorrow. Sorrow is creation of human mind. Sorrow is creation of human mind. There is no sorrow in any other creature. There is no sorrow in dogs and cats. Have you ever seen a depressed dog? A sorrowful dog like that? Or a cat? Or a monkey? Have you ever seen? No. Only human being is sorrowful. My face is too long, too short. Why? Because we are experts in creating sorrow. So sorrow is a creation by human being. We cannot blame Isvara for creating sorrow. We can only say he has given us the means of becoming free from sorrow in form of all the scriptures and gurus and so how we can become free from sorrow. That is his grace. We create problems and he provides solutions. Yeah. That's all right. Omkaram is Isvara. Everything came from Isvara.
And what is it about Paramatma, the Markandeya Rishi, and all that Puratana, he was there before he was Markandeya.
You know Markandeya? Have you heard this verse? Kararavindena padaravindam mukharavinde viniveshayantam vadasya patrasya puteshayanam balam mukundam manasa smarami. That is the scene of, okay, you take that microphone away now. So that is the scene in the water of Pralaya. What is this Pralaya on that? There is this Lord Krishna in one leaf, sucking his own thumb, toe. with his own hand. Kararavindena. What is Kararavinda? Lotus hand. Padaravindam, lotus foot. Mukharavinde, lotus mouth. Viniveshayantam, with his hand, he inserts the toe in his mouth. He is sucking his own toe. Have you seen that picture? That shows Purnatvam. Purnatvam means he is a eater. He is a eaten. He is a bhokta. He is a bhojanam. He is a bhojyam. He is everything. So the Purnatvam is shown of the Lord in that very beautiful picture of Bal Mukunda, which is what Markandeya saw. Markandeya had darshan of the Lord in this form at the time of Pralaya. So let's describe that way. Okay.
Please conclude. I would request.
1 minute. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamada Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om.
I request